Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Menifee 24/7 Candidates Forum for City Council District 2. We're glad that you've joined us, and we hope that this will be an informative session for you to learn about the four candidates that we have for the District 2 seat that's being vacated by Matt Leesmeyer. He is termed out. So we have with us tonight Ben Diedrich.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Ben. Good to have you with us. We have Ricky Estrada. Hi, Ricky.
Hi, good evening.
We have Alti Holcomb.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Alti. And Angel Nevin.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. So thank you all for joining us. I've got something that I'm going to read that's just kind of about the ground rules for the forum here for our readers' information. This is a forum, not a debate. Personal attacks are not allowed. Each candidate will be given time to state his or her opinions on important topics in opening and closing statements and as questions are asked. Not all questions submitted were considered appropriate, so some will not be asked. The forum is estimated to last a maximum of 2 hours, and responses should be limited to approximately 2 minutes for each question. So let's go ahead and begin with opening statements. Let's go first to Ben Diedrich, and go ahead. The floor is yours, Ben.
Thank you, Doug. Yes, hi, everyone. I'm Ben Diedrich, and I'm a proud husband, father, and Menifee business owner. My family moved out here over 30 years ago, and I attended MSJC way back when. I got my associate's degree in math there before continuing on with my education. I ended up transferring to UC San Diego and got my bachelor's degree in molecular biology. After that, I moved back to the area and worked at a biotech firm in Temecula. During that time, I married my lovely wife, and we've been married for 21 years now. I then decided to become a patent attorney and enrolled at USC Law School. I commuted from out here while my wife worked at a law firm in Temecula. I then started my legal career at a firm out in Orange County where our daughter was born. She's almost 12 now. However, we love Menifee, and when she was starting school, we knew we wanted to come back here to raise her. We bought our house in Audie Murphy Ranch 7 years ago. I moved my law practice out here and opened my own firm over 6 years ago. Ever since moving back, I jumped into community service. I've served on the Chamber of Commerce Board, working my way up to vice chair during my term. I've served on the board of the Temecula Valley Symphony and on the Santa Rosa Academy School Board. I currently serve on the city's planning commission. I was appointed 4 years ago by Matt Leesmeyer, and I served as the chair last year. I regularly volunteer my own time and sponsor various community events, including the first ever All-Star Field Day with the school district this year, hosting the Back to School Supply Drive, and sponsoring the Southwest Riverside County Pitch Contest for local innovators. I love Menifee. That's really what this all comes down to. And I hope to continue serving the city as your next council member. I believe I have the experience and integrity to continue leading Menifee forward. Public safety is my #1 priority, as evidenced by having been endorsed by both the Menifee Police Officers Association and the Riverside Sheriff's Association. I want to continue moving our infrastructure forward. It's desperately needed. I want to smartly grow our city as it continues to grow, while also preserving that rural feel and open spaces that are unique to Menifee, and attracting more dining and entertainment options and high quality jobs, so that, like me, more of us can live, work, and play right here in Menifee. Thank you for having us, Doug.
Okay, thanks, Ben. Let's go next to Ricky Estrada. Ricky, it's your turn.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ricky Estrada. I am in the Air Force Reserves. I am a history student teacher. I'm celebrating a graduation in 2 months. I will have my master's in education. As a member of the military and an educator, I understand public service. It's fulfilling and fun because I love and care about the future of our country. I love what I do. I love our hometown of Menifee, and I would be honored to be our representative. We need to improve traffic. We need to improve traffic. We need to improve traffic. People are doing whatever it takes to avoid driving on Newport. If your child goes to Paloma, Menifee Valley Middle, there's severe congestion. We need to widen these roads and install traffic lights at some of these intersections immediately. We are all tired of sitting in the traffic. District 2 has the worst traffic and infrastructure in the whole city. Residents in Southwest Menifee, the rural community, they feel ignored. Residents in Quail Valley, they feel ignored. Audie Murphy residents are paying almost $10,000 a year in property taxes in some cases, and they are wondering why the city does not complete the infrastructure. Did all of you know that Menifee has $21 million in debt? Yeah, that's right. Menifee has $21 million in debt. On top of that, we're scheduled to pay $11 million in interest. We have to cut the debt. Our tax dollars should not be going to paying interest. It should be go to completing the roads. I thought we're the fourth fastest growing city in California, and we don't have money for the roads and their improvement. We need to cut wasteful spending. We have wasteful projects like the $4 million amphitheater, $30 million for a new city hall. We are spending millions of dollars on a bigger parking lot for City Hall. The city council always approves pay raises. I have never seen one city councilman say no to any salary increases to any of the staff. The money needs to go to completing the roads and improving traffic. That should be the priority. I am a leader which cannot be bought or influenced. I would be the only, and I repeat, only Menifee City Council member to sign the voluntary oath stating I will not accept campaign contributions from developers or contractors with our city. I don't want the money. Nepotism is bad. We need to approve projects which benefit all of the residents, not ones which help by elections. We should always keep in mind our families appreciate our small town feel. We need a unique identity besides building homes and traffic. We need more unique small businesses. Everyone is tired of the fast food options. We need to create tax breaks for these small businesses. I also want to create an independent committee to audit and monitor every CSA tax in Menifee. There are communities in Menifee which pay an extra property tax, but the city throws it into one big pot and nobody knows how much each community is putting in. That is unacceptable. We need transparency. Menifee residents, I hear you. I'm here to fight for you, and I'm here to fight for our families.
Okay, thank you, Ricky. Let's go next to Alti Holcomb.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Alti Holcomb, and I am your candidate for Menifee City Council. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I currently work for the state of California, but before that, I taught junior ROTC at a local high school. And even before that, I served for 20 years in the United States Marine Corps, serving as both an enlisted person and later on as an officer. I served in the Persian Gulf War in the early 1990s, and I deployed to Iraq twice. I am super, super proud of serving my country, as both my wife and I are veterans. I'm married to my wonderful wife, Tracy, and together we have 6 children and 15 grandchildren. I'm running for city council because I believe that we need new and different leaders at Menifee City Hall. My priorities include school safety, resolving ongoing traffic issues that I know almost all of us experience on a daily basis, bringing a new police substation that services Western Menifee, and bringing a new community center to Quail Valley. I believe that my personal and professional life experiences, as well as my long history of community service and service to our great country, make me uniquely qualified to serve as your next council member. I humbly ask for your support and your vote.
Okay, thank you, Alti. Angel Nevin, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Angel Nevin. I have lived in Menifee since 2004. Before that, I resided in San Diego County in a rural, unincorporated area, which when I moved to Menifee became my favorite part. It was just such a small town feel. My husband and I moved here to enjoy the affordable homes, the small town feel, and the close proximity of family. His grandparents were living in Sun City in the retirement community. His parents had bought a new home over off Scott Road. We've raised our children here. Our son graduated from Paloma. My daughter is currently in Paloma. Go Wildcats. We own a small plumbing company. I'm the office. He's the plumber. And I'm the secretary of the Riverside County National Chapter of an Organization for Women. I'm active with my kids and helping them chase their dreams. I was a co-leader for Girl Scouts for many years. I was an active soccer mom. I am not a politician. I've never run for or held an office. I don't have all the answers, but what I have is a love for Menifee. I love our city. I have the same passions as everybody who lives here. I want to find answers for the problems that pester us all, but I also want to embrace the things that we all love. I think a good council member is going to be one who listens and hears what people in the community have to say. someone who will then stand up and fight for those people, someone who isn't sponsored by others, hoping to pass agendas. I want to be a voice for the people. I want to make sure we preserve our rural areas. That was my favorite part. It is my favorite part of Menifee. I don't want warehouses or distribution hubs coming in. I want, in District 2, we're very unique in the sense that we have all the large shopping centers and all the horse country. It's the most beautiful area. So my entire thing is just keeping it like that, improving the traffic. I mean, I'm a carpool mom. So I'm outside of Paloma every day. And I want to just work on that.
So we're going to go ahead with some questions. And the first one deals with a topic that a lot of you had just discussed, and that is traffic in the city. The question actually is, why have we not slowed down the building of so many new homes when the traffic and vehicle accidents are increasing? I guess the follow-up to that would be, is there really a connection between building, the number of people coming here, and traffic, or are there other factors involved? Let's start with Alti on this one.
Well, to directly address the question, first off, I think it's important for the voters and our constituents and residents throughout the city to know that these contracts that the city has entered in to build these homes with builders, they've been in place for many of them for many, many years, some even dating back as far as before Menifee became a city and right after it became a city. So it's very difficult to get out of those contracts. And I would not like to see that as a precedent, that the city enter its contracts with builders or developers or others who want to do business in our city, and then all of a sudden the city reneges or pulls out of those contracts, because that's going to discourage others from wanting to come in and help our city and provide services to us. Homes are important. They're the epitome of the American dream, and we all need homes. Up and down the state, east and west, north and south, we have a home shortage in California, and it's quite significant. So Menifee is entered in these contracts. They need to continue building homes, but we as a city should be wise about approving individual developments. And that is to say that not every contract for a residential home or a home tract should be approved. We need to have smart growth. And what I advocate and what I will advocate when I'm elected as your council member is to preserve open spaces, preserve some spaces for development and some spaces for residential, because that's actually what's needed.
Okay, thanks, Alti. Angel, what's your take on this subject?
No, I agree with Alti that, we were in contract for a lot of those homes before this all happened. I know that right now they're getting ready to do that Holland overpass, which will lessen the fact that Newport is the only east-west continuum between Menifee, one side and the other. I don't know if anybody else here feels like it, but you're like, oh, do I really have to cross the bridge to go over to Ralph's? Do I really when you're in your own city and you don't want to cross the bridge just to get to the other side of town, it's kind of a nightmare. But I'm sorry, but we can't stop building homes. We're about to have a new apartment complex built right next to my house, and people in the neighborhood here are upset about it. But there is a housing shortage, and we do need homes, but we also need to start looking at stoplights, stop signs, and like in Sun City, when they went to get those stop signs on McCall Boulevard. I'm so sorry, you guys. On McCall Boulevard, it took people getting hit by cars before they put in more stop signs on McCall. We need to actually look into that before anything else. Obviously, we can't stop building homes. People want to live in Menifee. It's beautiful, but we do have to look at the traffic safety.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to Ben Diedrich.
Yes, I'll mirror a lot of what both Alti and Angel said already, right? Is a lot of these projects were approved before Menifee Incorporated, right? They're county projects. A lot of them are, are moving forward. There are still projects that are still being approved today, right? There is a housing shortage, as both of them have mentioned. Additionally, the state has put pressure on local cities where there's a taking back of some local control, where the local cities aren't able to say no to housing projects if they meet all the requirements, right? So as much as I would like to say no more new houses, I don't actually want to say that because I like our neighbors and I like having more. But even if I were to say that, we as a city can't just say no to a project where it's properly zoned and they meet all the requirements, for better or worse. So really, I think what we need to focus on is continuing to grow the infrastructure to meet the needs of all of our new neighbors that are moving into town. That's really the focus. Obviously, the second part of your question was, do new homes and new residents bring more traffic issues? I mean, I think obviously, yes, the answer is yes, right? The more people we have driving, the more accidents there are going to be. We need to put things into effect, whether that's slowing down the roads, whatever that might be, stop lights, stop signs, changing the way the roads lie so that people slow down so that there are less. I mean, we just had a tragic accident at Audie Murphy Ranch this last week. It's senseless, and that happens every day. We hear that. So we need to work on ways that we can reduce those traffic problems. Stopping new home building isn't going to be the way that we're going to be able to do it, unfortunately.
Okay, thanks, Ben. So Ricky, obviously you feel passionately about this, and you had mentioned it in your opening statements. What else can you tell us about your opinion on this whole issue of traffic and building?
Yeah, I think it's a big issue. It's the biggest issue that I'm running on. And unfortunately, the state of California does put requirements on local municipalities. If it were up to me, I'll give you a clear answer. I'd say no more homes. I'll take a different stance than the other three candidates if I had the power to do that. By 2035, Menifee residents and our population is going to boom. We are anticipated to grow from 100,000 to 150,000 over the next decade. That's an extra 50,000 residents. Can you believe that? Things are bad now. Another 50,000 residents. And yeah, the state of California needs homes, but why does it lie on Menifee to fix California's problems? We have to take care of Menifee. We have to take care of our residents, our families, our neighbors. We can't take the brunt for all of California. Here's how we can address traffic. We can improve traffic by prioritizing the infrastructure. The next question, well, how do you complete the infrastructure? You need to be able to afford it. So you cut the debt that we have, you cut the interest that we pay, you cut the wasteful spending, you stop increasing staff salaries, we have to be responsible with our tax dollars to complete our infrastructure. Two more things I can do as your representative. I will not accept money from developers. I will sign that voluntary oath and be put on that city pledge website. These developers that come in, they want to build, build, build. That's how they make their money. I don't want your money. Menifee residents don't want to be overdeveloped. We want to do what's right for our neighbors, for ourselves. And also, last point, we need to revisit our general plan and the layout of the city. We need to rezone for more parks and land conservation. It's a gradual process that doesn't happen overnight, but I think that's an important conversation to have. We love our rural landscape. It's part of our unique identity, and we got to stand by that. We got to stand for something. And I want to stand by our unique identity and our rural landscape.
Okay, thanks, Ricky. Thank you, everyone, for your response to that question. The next one is also a subject that's discussed quite a bit, and on some legislation that people are kind of split on, and that's Measure DD. For those of you who don't know, that's the 1 cent sales tax that went in a few years ago to give extra funding for public safety, for police and fire, and also for roads infrastructure. So the question is, would you favor a repeal of Measure DD as a way to cut taxes? Now, Measure DD's already survived one or two attempts to repeal it too. And so the question is, do we continue on with this? Should we repeal it? And is it a way to cut taxes? Yes or no? Let's go to Ben first on that.
Yeah, thank you, Doug. Great question. I can answer you straightforward to this. I wholeheartedly do not endorse the repeal of Measure DD, right? Public safety is my #1 priority for the city. Measure DD helps fund our police, helps fund our firefighters that keep us safe. It helps build the infrastructure that we desperately need. Projects get built because of Measure DD, and I wholeheartedly support maintaining Measure DD.
Okay, thank you. Ricky, what's your position on that?
Yeah, so I've taken some heat on this topic in the past, but I'm going to stick to my convictions. I am for less taxes. I am also for a strong police force. Both those things can be true at the same time. Do we need an extra tax when Audie Murphy residents are already paying $10,000 a year in property taxes? Do we need an extra tax when we're paying debt, when we have wasteful spending? Maybe we wouldn't have needed that tax if we were more responsible with our money. But I wholeheartedly support our Menifee PD. I support more officers on Newport patrolling. The traffic is horrible. We need to keep an eye on speeding. I'm also a proponent of having more code enforcement officers. Quail Valley is falling apart. There's trash everywhere. There's illegal dumping everywhere. So I support less taxes. I support a strong police force with strong code enforcement. I support the military. I'm a military member. That's my ideology, a conservative ideology. You can believe in less taxes and you can believe in strong police and protection.
Okay, thank you. Let's go next to Angel. What's your position on Measure DD?
I do not agree with repealing it. I mean, we want all these road improvements. We want all these things done. We want our police force strong. I mean, I'm not in the trenches on the budget on this, but I do not agree that we should repeal it. I support DD.
Okay, and Alti?
I support Measure DD with absolutely no reservations and no hesitations. In 2016, voters voted for and passed Measure DD with 68% of the vote. So I think that's a resounding yes on whether or not the residents of Menifee want increased police and fire services. And it actually ties into my proposition when I'm elected to bring a new police substation to the western part of Menifee. Ricky mentioned that Quail Valley has been neglected with respect to code enforcement and policing services that need to be done out there. Well, supporting measures like Measure DD fully supports initiatives like that. So I am fully in line with the support of Measure DD, as long as it goes to places that it's supposed to and intended to go, like supporting police and fire services and public safety in general.
Okay, thank you. Next question. What community amenities would you like to see increased within the city? We hear comments a lot of times from people, there's nothing to do here. We need more of this, more of that. What kind of amenities that we don't have would you like to see brought here, or would you like to see more of? Let's start with Angel.
Okay, thank you. Yes, because all of our chain restaurants that we're getting in, I mean, they're great, but you can go to any town for one of these chain restaurants. I would like to see, and I don't know the legal battle that it would entail to literally tear down that theater, but turn that theater into something more like Old Town Temecula area, where it's a walking district, or like the Vail Ranch area where it's like a little area, and get unique boutiques and get your tax revenue from that, because people will travel for that. That's what we need, something the kids would enjoy. They can go hang out, because we're getting that new bike park and that's going to be awesome. But something that the family could go, you go and you have lunch, and there's picnic tables and there's trees and there's, because I've literally sometimes leave Menifee to go enjoy those kind of amenities that I can't find here. And I would love to bring that in especially we're building at the city center. We got the new amphitheater coming. We got all that stuff coming. Even the town hall is going to be there. So it's like we really should just make it more of a walkable, beautiful boutique areas, less chain restaurants, and something more family friendly that we can go to.
Okay, thank you. How about Alti?
Well, the movie theater is the obvious long pole in the tent, but I believe that wholeheartedly, and I will die on this hill, that we need a lot more dining and entertainment options brought into the city of Menifee. We have, at this point, an over $800 million retail sales tax leakage to neighboring cities. And to the average resident, they may think, okay, well, so what? Well, what that means is many Menifee residents are contributing their hard-earned tax dollars and their money to building up the police and fire and city services of neighboring cities like Riverside, Moreno Valley, Murrieta, Temecula, Lake Elsinore, Paris, and so on. That money needs to come back to the city of Menifee so that we can build things like a new community center in Quail Valley. We can build things like a new police substation that services the western part of Menifee, as well as bringing other services to our city. We need that in the city. We need more dining and more entertainment options. No, I do not want to see the city of Menifee become this populous area. My wife and I moved to the city of Menifee because it has a somewhat rural feel and a suburban feel without being overcrowded. But we do need more options for our families and our individuals. And I intend to advocate for that when I'm elected to the Menifee City Council.
Okay, thank you. Ricky, your turn.
Yeah, I think Menifee needs a unique identity. What do we stand for here? Homes, traffic, fast food. The city council, we're the visionaries for the city. And I've heard council members in their meetings say, hey, we've never had this discussion before. What do we stand for? And I think anytime you have a goal in mind, you need to have the final objective in mind. We need places like more museums, more educational places, places that appreciate our unique identity, because that is also gonna make businesses want to come and be a part of this town. We can take pride in our gold mining history. We can take pride in our agricultural history. Maybe we can make a resolution naming us a military town. We need a theme. We need a unique identity for everyone to rally around. And we need more small businesses. I propose giving more tax breaks to small businesses. It's hard to run a business in California. We need to give them more tax breaks and maybe even create a 2.0 version of what we have now. I know we helped Savage Chef with the tax break they came and they mentioned to the city, hey, that helped us start our business. We appreciate that. So these unique mom and pop shops, we need to help them. California, we're overtaxed. We're paying much more in a lot of sectors than the rest of the country. At the local level, let's help our small businesses out. Let's give them tax breaks.
Okay, thanks. And Ben Diedrich.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Doug. Yeah, there's a few points I want to touch on here. The first one is something that the city actually has a good amount of control in, right? I think we need more parks and more open spaces in our town for our families to enjoy, right? I mean, we're building new homes left and right, new businesses left and right. We still do not have enough parks for our citizens at this point. Right now, the city is going through their parks master plan, redesigning their parks master plan. There was a joint commission meeting between the Planning Commission and the Parks Commission, and I advocated strongly during that meeting that our city needs more parks, especially in the areas that are underserved, like Quail Valley, where they don't have any real parks to take advantage of for the families, for the kids to play at. So I think that's the first thing, that the city actually has a good amount of control that we can change. The downside of being a young city is we're still building, we're still developing, right? Those mom and pop shops, for the most part, typically come in later on after the buildings have been built and the first tenants leave, and now it's affordable for a mom and pop business to come in. Most mom and pops can't pay the money to build a new building to be in, right? So that's why I do want to incentivize tax breaks for small mom and pop businesses. And we've been doing that a little bit so far. It's been working. We have Savage Chef now. We have Tacos and Tequila. We have Mitchie Tacos. We have up in the Sun City section of town, we have Melody Thai and the Korean barbecue that just opened this last week. We are getting more. We are finally getting more of what we all want here, of these small mom and pop restaurants. We need more entertainment too. That pump track is going to be awesome for the kids, but we still need more, right? We have, right now, we have an escape room in town, and they're working on building a second one, right? That's something, that's great. We need more stuff like that to keep people in town. I'm tired of me and my wife having to go to Temecula or somewhere to go out on a date night, right? We want to stay here. We want to spend our money here. It's coming. We just got to keep making progress towards it.
Okay, thank you. Next question concerns the city's, I guess you could say, ongoing efforts to take over the parks and recreation on the east side of Menifee from Valleywide. This has been discussed quite a bit for the last few years, and it seems to be a situation that's not going away, but we don't know what's going to really happen with it. I'd like to get your opinion. Do you support the annexation of Valleywide into the Menifee Park system? Do you want it to be one park system for the entire city? Let's start with Ricky.
I want residents to save money and to have the best bang for their buck. I think the city has been a little disingenuous. They haven't released an apples to apples figure on what residents pay through Valleywide and what residents would pay through the city of Menifee. That has to be addressed. We need clarification. We need transparency. If residents on the east side are getting a better bang for their buck, they're saving money, their tax dollars are invested wisely through Valleywide, why would I say come to the city of Menifee where you are not going to get the best product, or we're going to charge you more for the same product? So I believe we should have transparency. We should have apples to apples figures and do what's best for the taxpayer. Let the taxpayer decide and let them vote on it. I would like transparency. I would like to be able to compare the figures, and we should have a vote on it after the data is released.
Okay, Ben, what is your take on that?
I love transparency. I think transparency is a great idea. I think the more information we have, the better off and the better decisions we can make as a community, right? For everything I've seen and heard so far, we're not getting the best bang for the buck with Valleywide, and the city would likely be better served by having our parks unified under a single park district that we manage and run. I've talked to numerous constituents on the east side of town that are not happy with the situations with Valleywide running. I've talked to significantly more that have said that than that are happy with the conditions. So therefore, based on that, I think it's a good idea to try to consolidate if we're possible. But I agree, I think transparency is great, and we should have actual facts and figures when we're making that decision.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to Alti next.
Yes, years ago, when I was the chair and member of the Menifee Parks Recreation Trails Commission, I was a staunch advocate for the city of Menifee taking over its parks. More importantly, I think that one important sign of a city maturing is to take ownership and control and operations of the services and the amenities that fall, the public amenities that fall within its borders. I wholeheartedly and fully support the city of Menifee's efforts to take control of the parks that lie within its borders.
Okay, thank you. And Angel, what's your opinion on that?
I'm not going to disagree. I want Menifee to take over their parks entirely. I don't know the numbers, but I know that people, my friends that live on that side, do not like Valleywide being in charge of their parks. And they're very envious of me over here. I got Pete Peterson, I've got Spirit, and the accessibility and renting a space to go and have a picnic and have a birthday party. And I don't know. I know that they don't like it. So
Okay.
Menifee should have his parks.
All right. Thank you. Now we're going to talk a little bit about everybody's favorite topic, industrial centers, warehouses. We just had an article today on Menifee 24/7 about a big industrial complex that is going to the city council for approval up in the northeast part of town off of Ethonac. There's got to be some parts of the city that are designated as economic corridors, and the city officials have pretty much stated that they would prefer the majority of that to take part in the northern part of the city. So the question is, do you support a major commercial center in the northern part of the city? Let's, we'll start with Angel on that.
Honestly, I don't want to support an industrial park in any part of our city. I know that I have friends who live in that area and they don't want it there, just as none of us want it here. We do need the income that would come from it. My son was an Amazon driver. He made his Amazon cup, made his living doing that stuff. But I don't want to see any part of our city turned into that. It's hard for me to say on that. I'm actually against it. I'm against all industrial parks in our area.
Okay. All right. Ben, what's your take on that?
Sure. Yes, I'm happy to speak more on it. Anybody who wants to know my opinion can go watch last week's planning commission meeting to see how we voted as a planning commission, right? We did vote to recommend it to that city council approve that project. And I want to speak to why, right? Why did we approve that? First, that area has been designated for industrial well before 30 plus years, well before we were a city, right? We have always, the county first, and now us, have designated that area for industrial type projects. It's a balancing act. Leading the city is a balancing act between what's best for the residents, what's best for all the stakeholders. The people that have bought that land have had it for years and years with the understanding that that's what it would be one day. It's tough to take that away from them at that point. Additionally, the amount of infrastructure that is going to be brought in from this project is just unspeakable. The developers are going to be putting in $35 million worth of infrastructure is going into this Ethonac corridor there. They're expanding Ethonac, two lanes on each side. Their project doesn't even border Ethonac, but obviously Ethonac will be affected by the trucks that are coming and going. They're using union labor to build this project. Good jobs, local workers getting to stay here in town, not driving to LA or San Diego every day, getting to go to their kids' baseball games, building this project. That's huge. That speaks volumes for the developer, that they weren't fighting to use against using union labor, but that they actually chose to use union labor. Once this project opens, there will be 1,000 jobs added to our city, 1,000 people working here in town, going to lunch, spending their money here in town. I think there's too many benefits to it to say no to it. Obviously, nobody loves industrial, right? Nobody does, right? But a part of a mature, fully rounded city has all types of land uses. We're nearly 50 square miles. To say we're not going to have industrial anywhere in our city, I just don't know that you can actually do that. With the way that we all shop, everybody, Amazon could probably retire on the amount of boxes we get coming to our house every day, right? That's just the nature of it. That's how we are today. And, if you take the time and you look at the project that was approved here, it's gorgeous, right? It's not just one of those blank concrete walls that are lining the freeways that we see. This is an actual campus with some beautiful architecture. I encourage you to take a look at those plans and see what's actually coming to that area.
Okay, thanks, Ben. Ricky, what's your opinion?
So what we just heard was the planning commission sold us out. It's all about money, folks. Listen, it is all about money. They don't care about preserving our rural landscape. Maybe they do. but they're approving projects where it's just taking away that rural area. I drive through Ethonac all the time. Lots of open land, lots of rural. It's a rural lifestyle right here. So we're going to put the industrial warehouses right there on top of the seniors in Sun City, right off of Ethonac and Marietta. We'll put it right there for them. We're going to put it right north of Quail Valley. Let them have the pollution. Let them deal with the truck routes. I would have voted no. I do not want to see the warehouses. Is it a part of the economy? Yes, but that's not our unique identity. We need to stand for something and stop being bought out by the developers. They're improving the roads. Okay. Any other business could have done that as well. It didn't have to be a warehouse. We can't be selling our city out. We got to stand for our unique identity. We appreciate land conservation, our rural landscapes, and I would have voted no.
Okay, thank you. And Alti, what's your opinion?
Yeah, well, I am not a fan of warehouses. I don't particularly like them. However, the city a long time ago designated certain plots of land within our city's borders as economic development corridors. And again, we're standing on dangerous ground if we think that we're going to go back and we're going to pull back those contracts. Because if we do that again, and I'm saying it over and over, that's setting a bad precedent when other businesses want to come and locate and help our city grow and mature into the future. So while I do not support warehouses, I don't like them. The agreements, the contracts have already been made. And in my opinion, along Ethonac, it's in a corridor up there in the northern part of our city that I believe if any part of the city it's appropriate to have warehouses or industrial, as you like to call it, then that's the place to have it.
Okay, thank you. Next question.
Hey, Doug, really quickly, I
Yes.
want to add one more thing if it's okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. We keep hearing multiple times that these contracts were already signed, but don't forget, the city council did change the McCall corridor. They did change the Southern Gateway corridor. So you can't be picking and choosing both sides. They already took that away from property owners off of McCall and off of Scott. So it can be done. It was done.
Okay, so you're saying that if we take away the northern corridor, there is no corridor to put any of these buildings in the city. Is that what you would want?
Yeah, I don't want warehouses, but I'm also saying that the argument that we can't pull out of the contracts and we can't rezone it is wrong, because the city did a couple months ago. They took away McCall, they took away Scott, and they left Ethonac. So it can be done, and they did pull out of the contracts.
Okay, let's go to another topic here. The theater, the Krikorian theater site. Nobody likes what's going on there. Is there anything that you think the city can do to either get Krikorian out of there, do something to make it look a little more attractive in the meantime? Let's start with Alti. What do you think, if anything, the city can do to improve that situation?
Well, I do not believe we all know that it's become an eyesore for way too long. And we all know at this point that he's in a legal dispute with his contractors. However, I do not believe that the city should take action against Krikorian just yet. While it sounds unconventional, I believe we should put them on a time limit. I do not believe in eminent domain. In other words, the city or any government entity for that matter, just coming in and taking over private property. I don't like that idea. And frankly, I think it's un-American and unconstitutional. But I believe that the city of Menifee should put Mr. Krikorian on a time limit. Give him a year and a half or 2 years, perhaps, to get his act together and to move forward on this project. After all, it's been contracted to him. It's his land. He has full operation of it. The problem is he's not doing anything with it, and that's taken off a lot of Menifee residents. So short answer is that I think we should put him on a time limit If he does not comply with that time limit that the city prescribes from him, then at that point, the city should take legal action against him to get him out of there.
Okay, Angel, what are your thoughts on this?
I feel that he's never going to get the funding to get his movie theater up and going again. With after post-COVID, theaters are bankrupting left and right. I don't know all the laws for eminent domain. I can't wait to hear what Ben has to say, actually. But it's, I do know construction. I do know liens. I do know that there is 30 something liens filed on that because I have access to it being a plumber and working on jobs. I've Googled it. I've looked it up. It's a legal nightmare. I really honestly don't know the answer. I mean, I don't know anything about eminent domain. I don't think it's un-American when it comes to a corporation who is literally blighting the center of our city. I think there needs to be something done. They keep saying the outbuildings are going to start getting worked on. It's a teardown. As somebody who works for, in construction for the last 20 years, that's a teardown. That thing is, the buildings they have mold and rot from sitting in the weather. I don't know. I don't have an honest answer of what I think legally we should do, but I do know my personal opinion, and I think it needs to go.
Okay, Ricky, what do you have to say about this?
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate. I think the space it's wasting tax revenue for us. It's sitting there. It should be the heart of Menifee, and there's a big hole. There's a big hole there, and in Menifee hearts too. Everyone was excited for it. But I think the other point too is movie theaters are a dying breed, and unfortunately, do I see it being even if it were to get up and running, would it be a large tax revenue generator? Probably not. A lot of people rather sit at home, order it through their streaming services. Unless there's a big movie coming out, like a brand new Batman or Superman, or that's what gets people going, or Jurassic Park, but that's seldom. It's once every couple years. So in my opinion, time is up. They've had long enough to get it done. He is a property owner, and I hate pushing out private property owners. I think eminent domain, that'd be a hard sell for me, but I'd like to talk to the legal counsel. I'd like to talk to code enforcement and say, hey, what can we do to pressure him to either start building today or get out?
Okay. All right, Ben, your turn.
All right, thank you. So let me preface it with a couple things, right? So my office is in the same parking lot as City Hall. I say I was here first, they moved in afterwards, but I'm looking out my window right now at that movie theater, right? So it affects me on a daily basis. I see it, I drive by it from my home in Audie Murphy to here every single day, right? I'm well aware of it. I'm knocking doors almost every single day, and it's the number one question I get from residents. What's going on with the movie theater and what can be done about it, right? We all know it's a blight on our city. It's supposed to be the jewel of our city, and it's sitting here, casting a huge shadow over all the actual good development that is coming around it, right? We sit at Tacos and Tequila and we look at that wall there, right? So something needs to be done at this point. Those front buildings, Angel mentioned it already, right? He did just Mr. Krikorian turned in his plans it was 2 weeks ago now, turned in his plans to move forward. They're currently in plan check for those front buildings. Last I'd heard, there had not been an engineering report to see whether structurally they're sound or not. But like Angel said, I can't imagine after this amount of time that they're still going to be sound, right? I'm not an engineer. I can't speak one way to that or the not, but just common sense, it would seem that it needs to be a tear down. The movie theater itself, I think he's had time. We've given him time. Something needs to be done to move this forward, whether that's code enforcement, whether we have them tear down the walls of the movie theater so we're not just staring at them every day. Something needs to be done. I'm not a fan of eminent domain unless the city comes up with a great idea and we have the funding and we take it over and we build something great for the city ourselves, right? But just taking it and assigning it to some other private property owner, I'm not a fan of that. So I think something needs to be done, and I would move forward to make something happen on that spot.
Okay. Speaking of theaters, and Ricky had touched on it in his opening statements, there is a project in the works to build an amphitheater where Central Park is in the Menifee Town Center. And as we've reported on Menifee 24/7, the plans for that have greatly ballooned from what the original concept was to where it's now really a multi-million-dollar project that the city is looking at. So the question is, what's your opinion about that? Should we follow through and support this project at the grand scale that it's at? Should it be cut back? Should it be dropped? What? Let's, well, Ben, you're up. Let's go ahead and keep you going on that.
All right. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I am. First of all, it's in the design phase, right? No decisions have been made by city council yet as to what it's ultimately going to look like. That said, I am a huge supporter of this. I think we've been talking all night about what's important for our town, having an identity, having entertainment options, bringing people to our town. Having something like this will do that, right? This is a culturally important project that would help our city move forward, that would help us leapfrog. MSJC's putting in their stadium. Likewise, that's going to have that same kind of effect. Not only are they going to play football games there, it's a new venue to have options, to have concerts, to have things, to bring people to town. I'm a huge supporter of it. That said, it's still in the design phase, right? We'd have to see what the actual numbers look like and what we're going to do before anything would be decided, but I'm generally in favor of moving forward with this.
Okay. Alti, what's your opinion on this?
Yeah, I do support moving forward with the amphitheater project. When I was on the Menifee Parks, Recreation and Trails Commission, we saw the initial designs and approved the initial designs of the amphitheater. I think it's important for the cultural identity and for the maturation of the city to have a project like the amphitheater. Unfortunately, over time, it is mushroomed in cost, but we think that we need to bring this project to completion because it says a lot about a city that can build its own stuff, if you will. And I believe that the amphitheater, it will serve as a central piece for the city center.
Okay. Angel, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm excited for it. Yeah, they say the budget's a little out of hand, but like Ben said, it's not fully planned yet. But I think it would be a great boost for Menifee. I think it'll be lovely. My daughter, she's 16. She's like, oh my gosh, will they have bands play? I'm like, I don't know, maybe. I think it'll just be a real boon for the city. So I'm in support of it.
Okay. I think we know where you stand, Ricky, but go ahead.
Yeah, what I'm most unhappy about isn't the amphitheater itself. Could it add to the identity? Yeah. Is it our biggest priority right now? I don't think so. I think our roads, our traffic, our streetlights, the money should be going towards that. The other part of that, I don't like how it was approved. The city did not send it out for bid. No competitive bids were offered on this project. That could have saved us money. Why did the city manager and the city council allow for this project to not go out, did not make sure that it went out to bid? That's how every other project is approved, right? We give the project to the lowest bidder. It's wrong. It's inflating the cost on it. This project was supposed to be $100,000 in 2016. Now it's $4 million. Bill Zimmerman said it. He said, hey, this project, we had no spending cap on it. We had no spending cap. He recommended to the city, make sure you send our projects out to bid so we can get the cheapest price. We weren't financially responsible for this. I would like to resend it out to bid We are not going to choose from a predetermined list from maybe their friends, their developer friends. Maybe the city had a favorite that they chose to give the contract to. No, you send it out to bid and you save taxpayer dollars by giving it to the cheapest bidder.
Okay, thanks, Ricky. Everybody's talking about we want to preserve open space, try to keep the rural feel as much as possible. The question is, how do you do that? Does the city go out and look for owners of some of these open lands and buy it to put a park there? How can we preserve some of the open space and make sure that it's not all built over? Ricky, you can go ahead and take that one first.
Okay. Yeah, I think we need to revisit our general plan for what land we have left and that they haven't sold us out on. We need to preserve that land, rezone it for parks, rezone it for land conservation. You know, I know in Quell Valley, the Canyon Heights community, they have a park that they've been trying to sell to the city for a while now. And that's one option. Quell Valley has 0 parks. We can give Quell Valley a park if we buy that land from Canyon Heights. The Parks Master Plan update is coming up. Hey, you know what? I'm open to annexing Cabian Park. That's a big, big park. It would bring in tourists. We can maintain it. We can make it part of our unique identity. Quell Valley can have a bigger park there too. And so, yeah, I think we have to be open to purchasing land. We have to be open to the options available out there. We need to preserve our parks and we need to fight for land conservation.
Okay, let's go to Ben on that one.
Yeah. So again, I mentioned already at the Parks Master Plan, I advocated strongly for new parks to come into our area, right? How do we achieve that, right? We can't just take land from people without buying it from them, right? That's not how it works. The general plan, again, similarly, we can't say you own this piece of land that was going to have a potential useful function for you that would make you money. And now we're saying you can't build on it and not recoup them for that, right? That's a taking from those people. So we need to figure out how we do it. So yes, the city does need to be putting money aside to purchase land to build these projects. As new developments come in, they need to build these parks as well. We get Quimby fees too from projects coming in that aren't building parks themselves, right? So there is money being put aside. I would have a higher focus in the city of actually creating those parks and open spaces. You know, during that Parks Master Plan discussion, it was a huge thing that we were all in favor of was, building up to the point of creating a regional park here in Menifee that's going to bring people. You know, there are other cities around where all of our kids, they're playing soccer tournaments, baseball tournaments. They're having to go to other places to do these. People would be coming here, staying here, spending their money here. It needs to be something that's a part of our vision going forward.
Okay, Alti, what's your opinion on this?
Yes, I believe that the city of Menifee should work in a defensive posture in terms of going out and purchasing property so that we can preserve it for future open spaces. I think that's one of the ways to go. But I also think that the city should be smart about where it puts its parks. Some places around the city, even though it may look on the surface, look open, it may not necessarily be suitable because of environmental or other concerns for putting a park. However, I also think that the city should extract, and that's kind of a harsh term, but I'll say it, extract, pressure, demand that developers, and particularly residential developers who want to come in and build homes in our city, we should put their feet to the fire and make them, or as much as legally possible and allowable, make them provide spaces and contribute to our park deficit. Because as most of you know, we are in a park deficit. We're in desperate need of more parks. And I think that's one way to do it.
Okay, thank you. Angel, what are your thoughts?
Well, I agree with Ben that we can't just go and buy land back from people. I want to be able to rezone certain areas that are not currently owned by other people, as opposed to taking things away from them. Because I have friends that have areas over on Cedars, which is just wide open land, but he bought it with different intentions in mind. I'm always telling him, I'm like, dude, don't do it. Don't do it. Keep it beautiful. But we need to work with the home builders that are coming in, because we still have them, and do add more parks. We need to protect the people who have the forest country out there from, as we discussed, eminent domain, trying to widen the roads or taking part of their land. So I don't have an exact answer for that. I'm honestly not that qualified on land zoning and how we need to do it.
Okay, thanks, Angel. Let's go back a little bit again into the topic of traffic. The first question we dealt with some of that, but there have been other questions submitted about what your plan would be to improve traffic flow. Obviously, we need more roads. We need the Holland Road overpass. Are there other things that can be done? Are we too slow in approving and installing traffic signals? Do we need to pressure the school district to bring back more crossing guards? Should the cops be writing more tickets? Do they need more officers to write more tickets? Ricky, what's your opinion on this whole traffic thing?
Yeah, I think it's horrible, and I think everyone's sick of it. You know what else is going to be important? The Holland Road overpass. Once that is complete, if you follow Holland from Lake Elsinore coming up towards Marietta, the cars are backed up all the way to Elsinore. That corner of Marietta and Holland is horrible. They're going to Menifee Valley Middle School. They're going to Paloma. Once that whole Holland Road overpass is fixed, we're going to have people coming from Lake Elsinore, Marietta, coming up the 15 who want to get across, and they're going to be trying to get to that Holland Road overpass, but we don't have a stoplight there at Marietta and Holland. We need to find a way to widen that road quickly. We need to think ahead on this one, and we need to put a stoplight there. We need to get traffic flow going good there. Like if you drive your children to Paloma or Menifee Valley Middle, we need to widen those roads. You're backed up all the way up Marietta. You're backed up going down Bradley. So yeah, and I would be a vocal advocate. I know this is not a school board position, but we are vocal leaders for our residents. So if my constituents want me to go to the school board meetings and say, hey, put in some crossing guards, it's a no-brainer. I'll be a vocal advocate for crossing guards. I'll be a vocal advocate for putting more police on Newport to prevent the speeding. We got to back up our police. We got to enforce the laws. People are frustrated and they speed. And so that has to be addressed. But yes, the infrastructure needs to go first, not theaters, not $30 million city halls. They put a $5 million down payment on a $30 million city hall. They're always raising their staff salaries. They ask for increases all the time. City council says yes all the time. Never heard a no. Never heard a no on a spending increase on salaries. The money should be going to infrastructure. That's the priority around here.
Okay, let's go to Alti for the next comment.
Yeah, I believe that the city of Menifee should work with school districts that service our city to establish safer routes to schools and to bring back crossing guards at all schools. I think that can be a project that's a joint venture between the city and the school districts that help us out. I also think, and this actually ties in with the support for Measure DD and the funding that comes from that. We hear the themes throughout the night, and we've heard them from practically all of us. We're talking about improved safety, improved fire and police. Well, this is one of those things that help it. And it also ties into the need for bringing back the tax revenue that's leaking out to these other cities. If we had amenities, dining and entertainment options again in our city, we can afford to have things like crossing guards and safer routes to schools and to pay for many of the things that we have programmed currently. So yes, the short answer is I am in favor of the city working with school districts to support safe routes to schools for our students.
Okay. Angel, what do you think about this?
So in like, I think it was 2010, I saw there was like, we were like 75,000 people in Menifee. And now we're over 100,000. And many of those people are students. They're young, they're in those schools. If we could put in more lights, more stop signs, and even at the exit of the schools, orange cones to keep people from crossing double yellow lines. A gentleman died right here on Berea, right behind my house, where somebody did an illegal U-turn across a double yellow. I mean, obviously we don't need to put cones there, but you know, those posts, we don't have to put the concrete barriers. And then the concrete barriers, I think, should go on Newport, certain parts, because they literally, people crossing double yellow lines, they just don't pay attention. They do it willy-nilly. Everybody's in a hurry. Newport's the main hub. So we really need to focus on more lights, more stop signs. And yes, I 100% agree. We should all go to school board meetings and say, bring back the crossing guards.
Okay. Ben, what do you think about this?
Yeah. I mean, your question was regarding traffic and safety, right? How do we improve that? I think we need to push on every avenue to improve traffic safety here in town, right? Whether that's more stop signs, more stop lights. Stop lights are a hard thing, right? They cost money. They cost a lot of money. And with COVID, just like everything else in the supply chain, they are incredibly backed up right now. Even if we got the money and we said put in a stoplight here, it's going to take at least 6 months to a year for that stoplight to actually show up, right? So that's not an immediate fix to the issues that we have. It's a long-term fix and it's something that needs to be pursued, but we need to pursue other avenues as well. We need to pursue, yes, we all want crossing guards. Yes, I think we all agree crossing guards are a good thing. The lack of busing is another issue of why we have so much traffic leading to these schools. It's not a city decision, but it's something that needs to be discussed, I think, again. You know, the city on Newport, they're working on syncing up all the lights on Newport so that if you're going the speed limit or 10 miles below, you're going to hit greens all the way. That's going to encourage people from not speeding because they're going to get stuck at every single red light if they're speeding going down Newport. You know, our police department's only 2 years old. We've doubled our officers. We still only have 4 officers dedicated to traffic right now, right? We're a growing city, a growing police department. I think we need to expand on all avenues to protect the safety of our citizens.
All right, thank you. Well, that pretty much takes care of the questions that we had that we wanted to pose to the candidates. So now we're going to go into the closing statements. We want to thank again all 4 of you candidates for coming in and into our virtual area here and giving us your thoughts on it. And note to the viewers that are watching that this will be kept up on our website, that you can watch it at any time leading up to the election. You can watch it over and over if you want, and we hope that it's been a help. So let's go ahead and start with Angel and give her the opportunity to make a closing statement. Angel?
Hi, thank you so much, Doug, and thank you guys for the time and the questions. I really didn't prepare a real closing statement, so I'm just kind of going to wing this. I do want to be the city council member for District 2. I believe, you know, listening, hearing my constituents, and just fighting for their causes, because my whole reason for running is because I love Menifee. I love this town. When I try to think of things that I hate about it to discuss where I'm like, I need to change this, I have a lot of trouble because I love it. I mean, we complain about traffic and picking your kids up from school can be a nightmare. And the theater is ugly, but I really am just here to fight for what everybody else wants to fight for. And so thank you so much for the time and the opportunity to speak tonight.
All right, thank you. Alti, your
Well,
turn.
Doug, yeah, thanks, Doug. I want to thank you, Doug, for the opportunity to speak tonight to our residents, not only of the city of Menifee, but specifically to the residents of District 2. I also want to thank Ben, Ricky, and Angel for running. These are all very, very fine and very good people. And I believe that any of us can do a good and effective job. However, I believe that I am the most qualified candidate to serve the residents of District 2. I will be their biggest advocate, and I will fight for them each and every step of the way while in office. So again, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank the people who are running in this race with me, and I wish you all the very best.
Okay, thank you. Ricky, your turn.
I want everyone to know how hard I have worked to get here. Nobody has handed me anything. Everything done has been through merit. Since 2019, I have personally knocked over 7,000 doors in Menifee. I have organized events to clean up our parks. I have organized events cleaning up our streets, helping neighbors clean up homeless encampments. I've been getting my hands dirty. I hope all these things give people a sense of the character that I have. I am the only candidate who is addressing the $21 million in debt we have. The only candidate addressing the wasteful spending of our tax dollars. The only candidate talking about setting up independent committees to watch our CSA tax dollars. Our city has the potential to do great things. But we have to have smart leadership who is responsible with all the taxes we pay here and will not be sold out once they are elected. I am the only candidate who is taking the oath not to be bought or influenced by developers in town and turning down their money. Menifee needs a unique identity. All we are known for is home building and traffic. Look around to all our neighbors. Temecula has the wineries. Lake Elsinore is known for their lake. Menifee should take pride in helping unique small businesses show up here. I know all of you in the rural community feel ignored and you want your roads addressed. I know all of you in Quail Valley feel ignored and you want the same attention and amenities that the rest of the city gets, but you don't. I hear all of you. Go to my website and go to the website of the other candidates. You will see they have a couple sentences, short paragraphs for their goals and priorities. On my website, you can keep scrolling and scrolling. As our representative, I want to be visionary. Go to estrada4menifee.com. That's the number 4. I am also having meet and greets on Tuesdays, District 2 Tuesdays Pizza Factory from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. We, the people of Menifee, will be heard and we will get it done. I am your number 1 horse in this race. I am working hard for all of you. God bless Menifee and God bless America.
Okay, thank you. And next we go to Ben Diedrich.
Thank you, Doug. The bottom line is, and I think you've heard that from most of us here tonight, is I love Menifee and I love to serve our community. That's what's really driving me to run for city council. It's not about me. It's about all of us here communally together. It may be my name that's on the ballot, our 4 names that are on the ballot and the signs that are around town, but I'm running for my neighbors, not for me. I own a home here in Menifee. Our daughter goes to school here, and I own a business here where I employ and assist other Menifee residents. Just like you, I want the best for Menifee going forward. I look forward to ensuring the safety and happiness of Menifee residents and hope to help smartly grow the city with additional amenities, entertainment options, and high quality jobs that will allow residents to live, work, and play right here in Menifee, just like I do. I hope to earn your vote, and I believe I have the experience, integrity, and servant's heart to serve you well. And having earned the endorsement of the entire current city council, the entire planning commission, the police officers association, the sheriff's association, the mayors of Canyon Lake and Lake Elsinore, among others, I'd like to think that they agree. Thank you, Menifee 24/7 and Doug, for hosting us tonight. Thank the 3 of you for all being here tonight and sharing your opinions with everybody. And thank all of you out there listening to us tonight.
Okay, well, thank you. This concludes our forum. I hope it's been informative and will be helpful for our residents in making their decision come election day. And I would like to congratulate and wish good luck to all four of you. I know it's a lot of hard work, and a lot of people like to complain and do nothing about trying to solve the problem. You are all out there trying to do something good for the city. So thank you for that. And this concludes the forum. I'm Doug Spoon with Menifee 24/7.